Hi, buddy. Canadian Treasure Hunter here. Just showing off my wire stripper, CWS 50, GTA Diamond Tools out of Mississauga, down in Ontario, Mississauga, I think it's called. Anyways, there's good points, bad points. I've used the machine for a little while now. What I don't like is, well, this adapter here for Romex, it doesn't work for Romex. You have to use this one or this one here. You put the Romex in there, it splits it. This one doesn't work. There's some other different settings here. I'm thinking of blocking that just enough to get a Romex size in there. Otherwise, it goes off the roller. If it doesn't have a reverse switch, sometimes wires get jammed in there. You can't get them out. You have to cut them, and it's really a nightmare. Wires will spin around. See here, it says Shark Bite Quality Wire Strippers. www.gtadiamondtools.com. I got this brand new. A few things I didn't like about it. I'm just going to show you the details which I didn't like about it. I got it brand new, but if you look at it, it's all been touched up here. Very poor workmanship on, paint. I'm not going to judge the performance by that, but it almost looked like it was refurbished. See here, paint chips. Here, what happens is it's got a double cutter system in here, so it goes in here. It's supposed to actually strip your wire kind of off the plastic also. There's your gear system here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cutter blades, and they are pretty sharp. You could actually sharpen them. They recommend you sharpening them too, right? So the big blades, I wouldn't even know how to repair this thing if it broke down here, just because sometimes your blade, what happens is the wire rolls around here and it spins in circles here if it's a little short. It goes right in here. Here's your tension springs right there. This basically works for most of the small wires. I can do like 18 gauge, no problem. It just strips like really nice through that. That basically what it does, it just squishes the wire and it kind of peels it right off. Here's the flap. Here's your tensioners right here. But I had a couple jams and it's so bad that man, I thought I'm screwed here. And what happens is it jams, the breaker will shut off. And if you don't have a really good power cord, it sucks back 15 amps easy. I had some cords that could not use it here, blow the breaker instantly. I don't like the shut off switch here. I would rather have it, somewhere like maybe on the side here. When you're feeding the wire, you feed with one hand, and if you had to go like that, or sorry, if you went like that to shut off, I would prefer that better than being down here. But this emergency shut off, that's the on switch. When I got it from the factory, the wheels were really kind of dirty like this. This hasn't been off the skid, so these wheels seen some work. It looks like they've been maybe the unit got refurbished. I'm not sure. Don't know what to say, but anyways, supposed to be brand new, like I say, but I see signs of touch-ups and different things. It was I think $12.99, and they had to ship it to my door and all that. I paid the one tax. It was like $1,400. But bigger diameter wire. I stripped this all, very heavy pile right now. I would say this pile took me maybe 2 hours. But this wire, this type of wire, no problem. I'll show you in a video. Anything like cords like this is what happens. It just tears it apart. Doesn't matter what setting you do. If you type in, like put in, wow, it's pretty heavy. Oh, it's probably about 40 pounds here alone. 40 pounds of wire already, but this one, forget it. Very hard to strip this. Doesn't work worth shit, to be honest. Not too good. It jams up. You put that in there, and somehow it just jams. I don't know why. This one here, sometimes the blade goes too deep and cuts the wires on the edge because it's kind of like a swirl. It's in a swirl. It cuts on the edge, so it cuts it on the edge. And I'll see if I had wires here that I could not. Yeah, this is what happens here. See how they cut on the edge here? So you try, you know, you can't cut these now. Once they're a little damaged like that, it just knots up. See how it knotted up? So that was originally a 3-wire bundle from a dryer plug. See how it put little notches in here? You know, little notches here. That's where the curves were. So I mean, it's pretty tricky. Like I say, every cut is a little kind of different. But the Romex, like I say, if you put the Romex in here, in the round slot, it works good. It scores the center, and then you peel it, and then like 10 gauge, 14 gauge, no problem. It goes really good. Just spits it out like nothing. And like anything big wires, like I say, if you had a big wire, it'd probably work pretty good. Like this stuff here. See? You just stick it in there, and it takes the outer one off. And then you got 3 or 4 conductors in the center. See, like this one here, see that? This is probably 10 gauge or more, maybe probably more. 8 gauge or something, but anyways, on some wires, like I say, it works pretty good. You just have to be careful on where you're putting the wire in what slot, because like I set it pretty deep here so that you know, like blades are pretty deep on some, right? But I'm just experiencing like some of the smaller wires, especially like I say the dryer cords give me problems, and anything with like a multi-stranded is giving a little bit of problem, as you can see from here. And it gets so splintery, and if you don't wear gloves, it just pricks the hell out of your fingers. Like this comes off pretty good. If you can see, there's a slight roll and impression in here, almost like it's been geared in there. But like this stuff, I say, just beautiful. You can do 100 feet a minute. It's that good. That's what it's rated for. And it's a 2 horsepower motor, belt driven, weighs over 200 pounds. But there's models like this that are way more money, like $3,000. So I thought the price was good. But to be honest, you know, the money's not in a small wire. Like the money's in this type of wire or bigger. But it will still do house wiring. It will do the Romex. Like this is a standard wire here. See, I would just put it in this slot here. That one, this one's iffy, but this one for sure. You put it in there, even though it's not flat. You put it in here. See the play in there? So if you look in here, the roller blades on the side, a bit on the side there, it doesn't really line up. So what happens is, you can't see it from here. Yeah, you can't tell, but if I stick it in the flat part, forget it. Doesn't seem to work too good. I mean, and it's sometimes hit and miss. You gotta kind of, some wires you have to adjust it a bit, but I set it so it just adjusts all around. But I'm having problems. Like I say, this is the biggest pain. This one here, I had a jam so bad in there, man. I was worried because I couldn't get it out. Couldn't go forward. Couldn't go backwards. It should have a reverse switch, reverse motor. That's the only drawback, is if you get a major jam, you can't pull it out. You can't pull it in, you can't pull it out. You have to cut it. I'll tell you, it's really tough. But like I say, it still works pretty good on some wires. But it is pretty finicky, and like stuff like this, you know, it's pretty tough. And I'm thinking maybe because the weather is really hot, it's 30 degrees right now. It's probably more like 100 degrees. You know, Fahrenheit in this garage here, super hot in here. I think what's happening is the wire's getting soft on the plastic, so it's tending to, and the motor's heating up, and so you're getting maybe 120, 130 Fahrenheit. What's happening is the wires are kind of somewhat too soft. Maybe winter time could be a different story. I don't know. I'm just judging by our weather is super hot right now, but I'll tell you, it adds up fast. You start processing your wire, you can strip tons of wire real quick. What I'm going to do is I'll put headset on. I'm going to strip that thick one for you after to see. So just stand by. I'll show that. I have some previous videos of some of the wire I cut. I'll try to put them all together so you have a variation of what we did, and try to put my final thoughts, and then I'll talk a bit after. Okay, thanks. Okay, so you saw how sometimes it doesn't want to grab. Well, that's got a thin plastic coating also besides the rubber coating. See how this? They say you're supposed to have a clean cut. You can't have a wire stick, it's got to be clean cut. So I think that's true, because when it's slightly trimmed, so you're losing a bit. See how it has a clear coating here? But it does strip pretty fast. But if you noticed, you know, it's pricked my hand like nothing. Just, it frays. The wire will get frayed. You know, you kind of have to judge the holes here, because I stuck it and say, this hole might be better, you know what I'm saying? Even though diameter is bigger than the wire, you can't go too tight. I'm gonna have to go one higher. But what happens is you get these pricks in your hand, and it hurts like hell. You know, so I recommend wearing gloves. You know, gloves work good. But let me set up the Romex here, and I'll show you the Romex, and then we'll go again. Showing you, okay, when I do a demonstration here, I'm not adjusting. Like some videos, they'll adjust for each wire, then they'll show you the segment. I'm not doing that. I'm just judge it once and then overall, right? Because I can adjust every adjustment to make one wire perfectly, but you know, when you're feeding multiple different wires like I have here, I'm working on a variation of all sizes. So what I'm doing is, like, this is Romex, your standard 14 gauge house wire. What I'm going to do is, you need these tools, by the way. You need a cutter to cut your different lengths, bolt cutter for the really big wire, pliers like this to pull the stuff. Sometimes it spins around and you got to pull it out. And there was another needle nose. I had a piece of wire that was stuck way in there, spun around about 5 times, so I needed a needle nose here to get it out. So I like to have my tools kind of like up close. And I noticed the machine makes a weird a buzzy squeak. Didn't do it at the start. It's starting to squeak a bit here. So, and the manual they give you is just basically in broken English from China. Very hard to understand. The manual is 1 page of nothing, to be honest. Nothing to tell you how to service it, to take it apart, nothing. So anyways, let me turn it on. I'll show you the Romex stuff now. Stand by. See? Okay, on the last pass you could see the wire gave me a little difficulty, right? So I'm thinking it's due to because it's too hot, right? The machine's heating up. It's hot in here. If this was like, you know, like maybe like 5 degrees Celsius and it was a cold day, I think this would really cut really good. Okay, let's try this another type of wire here. Sorry, I don't know the terms of these wires. Like I say, I don't deal with wires, or I'm not an electrician, so, but I'll just show you the type of wires. Okay, we'll just make it a short one here. 2 pieces here. Okay, turn on. How you doing, Treasure Girl?
Good. Happy Father's Day,
Thank
Daddy.
you.
Love
So you're gonna say Happy Father's Day to other people?
Happy Father's Day to everybody, but especially my daddy,
Okay.
because I love you so much.
Thank you, sweetie. Okay, so end result is every wire is a little finicky, right? This one I may have cut a little too deep, so it went a little finicky for a second there. But like I say, I'm going to that one. I think sometimes you go to the next one, it does a little bit better job. As long as you're not kinking the wires in the swirl, right? Let me get another set of wire here, something different, and I'll get back to you. Some 12 gauge here. This is 12 gauge using metal conduits and so on, like in apartment buildings or high rises. Okay, I also gotta let you know, if you leave this wire too long, as you see, it takes too long to fiddle. Ideal length is about 2 feet. You know, on this twisted stuff, 2 feet, because what happens is, when you're unraveling it, trying to get the other wires out, it just tangles up, knots up. So 2 foot lengths, you know, is easier to play with, right? That's my guess, right? Get these wires here. The problem is, you know. Okay, I'll show you. This is a 12 gauge, and I'm gonna put this on the side here. I'm gonna use this hole here is a really good hole. The second hole actually works good. I'll just try the third hole just to see what it does. If it doesn't work good, that's why, you know, because Second and third hole is, the really small one's good for like 18 gauge, the first hole, circle hole. Second hole is good like for a multi-purpose 14, 12, but I'll try a third one this time. If it doesn't work out, you know why, and then we'll go back to the second hole. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, it worked flawless even at the third hole. Okay, so also I was going to say about this unit. It's on sale right now, $12.99. It's in Ontario, and free shipping. I'm not sure where, but I was in Vancouver, well, Surrey, close to Vancouver, on the west coast. They included the shipping, but since it wasn't at a commercial address, they said it's a surcharge. It was like 30 bucks or something extra for delivery. So it was cheap. So it was landing at my door for $1,400. I paid one tax only, GST, no sales tax, because it's out of province. So when you order and you live in other than Ontario, make sure you let them know that. Otherwise, they'll charge you for no reason. I'm going to try to dig up one more wire for this demonstration. A couple of smaller gauge wires, just so you know you can see average of different wires. But like I say, seems to work pretty good. It's you know, cutting that wire would take you probably a week. You know, if you know, there's some pretty good tools out there that hand tools aren't too bad, but you know, it's spinning through wire like nothing. And look at, you know, there is quite a bit of waste. General rule, I noticed 1/3 is waste usually on the weight side. So if you have 10 pounds, 3 pounds of garbage. So, but if you do the math, right now they only want to pay around, say, 50 to 90 cents a pound on some of this wire. You know, some of this house wire they pay more, of course, but you know, this they pay better. But this random wires you want to pay as little as possible. So if you average 10 pounds at or say, okay, say, how about this? Okay, 10 pounds would only be, we'll say 80 cents. So $8. 10 pounds will give me $8 a wire. So if I had 10 pounds clean, I got 7 pounds of pure wire at $3.50. So that's already 25 bucks almost. So you know what I'm saying, even if they give you $1 a pound, you're way ahead. So you have to clean this, even though it's small gauge, it does add up. You know, if it's really small like data cable, I would say maybe not, because once you strip the data cable, like here, I stripped the data cable. Look at this wire. What are you gonna do with this wire? It's just, it's crap. It's copper, right? But I would not strip the data wire just because there's nothing in your hand. It's garbage. And even some of these other cables, like this wire here, is off of some sort of electrical appliance. That's number two. Number 2. See how it's tinned? It's not bright. So you know, it's on your own discretion, right? But my theory is clean everything. Don't give it to anybody else. Keep the value in the country. Don't give it overseas. Don't give 2/3 of your money away. Keep it. If it takes you a week or a month to clean, whatever, do it. Do it in your spare time. Like I used to clean, I used to, for years and years, I used to take the stuff the way it is, whatever the market price was, and I just dumped it. Now I'm starting to save stuff, and I'm thinking, wow, look at the value that I basically just gave away. It all went overseas. You know, you come across this wire all the time. You do demolitions, you know, especially like you do commercial jobs and you get wire, you get tons of wire like this. You know, and when you're doing a job, they want everything cut out. They don't want any old wire. They don't want renovation wire. They want it all gone. So when they say that, cut it all out, cut every wire you see, that's what I do. See, look at this. You got probably like 30 pounds of wire, 25 pounds. So if you got 15 pounds, even 50% of the weight, you're way ahead. You know what I'm saying? Way ahead at $3.51 a pound, which is right now super high. But you know, you got to remember that if you had a license and you're a junk dealer, like a real licensed scrapyard type guy, this stuff could be way more. It could be like, you know, $4 a pound. I know one guy, he showed me what he gets basically a dealer price. His wire is like $4. Same as aluminum, so over $1, and I'm getting 80 cents, right? So depends what you're doing. But let me get the one more wire out, something to show you before I finish this wrap up, and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, stand by. Percentage is really low. It's a thin piece of copper in there. This came out of a stove, but like, you know, it's just the random switch wires, so they're not really high powered wires. This one's out of some sort of, could it be a lighting ballast or something? You know, it's a thicker wire, there's more copper involved. This is just flimsy like this, see that? You know, the difference. See, it doesn't, you know, like this, see? There's a difference in wire. Okay, let me do this crappy wire here. Hopefully it doesn't spin around and get stuck, but let me, if it does, I'll show you the process. Okay, let me start started here. Okay, can I remember this wire? You know, it's not super heavy. I mean, average machine will not strip this. You know, remember that. A lot of wire strippers will not strip this. This is probably like 18 gauge or something, right? Multi-stranded. But you remember this, when you send this wire out, someone's granulating this or they're stripping it somehow by mechanical means. So they're still separating the copper, so there's still value. Remember, there's still value. You have to. It doesn't matter if it's like, you know, it takes, you know, like, say 10 pounds of this to make 5 pounds, it's still 5 pounds clean, right? So in fact, this is still more value than they give you. Look at that, it's got weight here. It's got maybe half an ounce or more, just like that. Just a few wires. And these are out of stoves. And like, I scrapped before, stove after stove, and same with computer stuff. I scrapped stuff for years and years, never kept anything. I threw the computers, boom, in the scrap pile. Now, as I'm starting to keep stuff, you know, I got my little hoard going here. I have more elsewhere, but look, these are all RAM cards. All different gold-plated RAMs, see that? So you start, you know, if you start collecting these items, they eventually grow and get bigger and bigger. Then you have value. You have value versus garbage. Look at it. I got tons of cards not here, but look at it, see? And chips. Look at all the chips here. You know, they're all gold-plated, solid gold-plated. Look at that. See that? Beautiful stuff. And here, I took a unit of parts. It's got 1,000 gigabyte. The hard drive's probably worth 20-30 bucks. So, you know, there's value. You have to go out there and collect stuff. Spend the time. Don't give it away. I mean, like, this stuff is a pain. I think this is a problem in the strip. Let me see. Let me try this before I go, because I think, let's see what it does here in this stripper here. This is the shittiest cord you can get. Like, this is pure crap, really. Let's see what it does. Let's turn it on. See if I can get this cut. See, that's a pretty big setting there, but see how cut. See, it's getting in there. Look at the waste. Like it's snowing. See, the wires are already cut. But you know, if you just rip off that insulation, automatically your wire is worth a lot more money. That wire is 30 cents. So they're paying about 35 to 40 cents, maybe 50 cents for that wire. Now it's worth 80 cents because I took that outer layer off. Even though if I throw all this in a pile and just leave it and sell for 80, 90 cents, it's still coming ahead. Let me get just a little better piece here. I'm going to try a different setting here. Let me try a different setting. Yeah, it's still cutting randomly. See, that's the problem with this thing. Ah, it's got pricked already, see? See, it's getting harder to peel now, but even though it is crap wire, but the value doubled. Just like that, taking out outer coat off value. And it's pretty heavy stuff. It's not light. It's quite heavy. Let me try one more. So, but some of that wire, I'm just going to take the outer layer off. Or I might get a different device. I'll get a device. You know, this is probably the rubber is too soft and it's a bit of a pain. Wintertime might be different or an older cable, but I may get a different setup with just a blade so it scores it, then I'll strip these separately. Let me see if I can strip one of these anyways. The way it's cut like this, let's see what it does. But it is pretty frayed, so you got to be careful. I would recommend wearing gloves because once that rips out of your hand, it just tears your hand apart. Let's try this on this thing here. Okay, I stripped it there, but let me just, last wire here, I'll try an upsized blade, a little higher, and see if it just works a little bit better. If not, like I say, I'll need a different type of stripper for this one. But you know, like I say, there's not a lot of wire on there, but you know, in actual fact is there's still wire, right? You know, still a little bundle of wire there, right? And that's only the one strand, so 3 of these come out of that small piece. Okay, let me go again here. See, if I go one step higher, it doesn't cut it. It cuts it every, you know, it loses an inch every other spot. Like I can make it tighter, but you know, I made it tighter. I jimmied around back and forth. It's not that simple, right? This machine is a bit finicky, but even though it's still out, it's less tears in it now, so it's not so bad, right? So you just, maybe if I adjusted that roller a little more, maybe it would be a little bit better. But you know, this must be a heavy gauge because this wire has got weight on it. But even though, like I say, take that coating off, double the price. Let me just strip these quickly, see what I get out of here. I'll roll it up in a ball for you. Okay, so that was what, maybe 2 feet of wire, maybe? I got a ball here. I would say it's probably close to an ounce. So yeah, it's about an ounce, I think, close to. So you know, every 2 feet you get an ounce, right? You know, the cord doesn't have a lot of wire in it, but it still does it. But it's not designed for the really small wires like this. If that was a solid wire, it would strip it no problem. So it is a little finicky, but it's still copper, right? Still clean. Get rid of some of this. But anyways, my end results are on, final thoughts are, oops, wow, that hurt. Final results are, like I say, the unit works pretty good. Depends on the type of wire. If you're using big commercial wires, you know, like 1/4 inch or bigger, using house wire, Romex, 10 gauge, good, solid core wire, no problem. Multi-stranded, you know, like the dryer plugs will give you a bit of a problem, a little bit of finicky, you know, but it does work. And then, like I say, but the end result is, for the price, I think it's good. I mean, I'm not complaining. Units like this are $3,000, $2,000. There's a lot of different brands. They're all similar. They're all basically the same process, just a different name, different color, whatever. But for the end result price, I think it's pretty good. It's going to pay for itself pretty quick. If you're an electrician guy or a demo contractor and you have 500 pounds of wire, you could probably do it in 2-3 hours, you know, no problem. That's why I'm hoping with this machine I can, you know, talk to these demo guys, buy the wire directly off them, and then make, you know, maybe $1 a pound. And you know, you have $500 worth of, you know, 500 pounds of wire, you make $1 a pound. You know, it works out, you know, in the long run, you're making money, you know. So End result is, for me, it's working pretty good. I'm happy. There is other pretty cool machines, like the Blue Dog one is pretty good there. I noticed, I watched it. But you gotta remember, every time they show you a segment of video, a lot of times they're edited and, you know, their flaws aren't in there, right? Because they all have flaws. I watched a few videos, they showed the flaws. Sometimes you gotta run 2 or 3 passes and so on. This has got a double cutting blade. Each one, there's a blade here and a blade here. So what it does is, it's a peeling blade, so it cuts it both ways. It's just, you gotta watch your diameter holes. If you go too small and too tight, you're gonna wreck your wire. It's gonna create issues. You're gonna jammed up. You always gotta go a size or more ahead. But these 1, 2, 3, first 3 ones, like I say, they're just basically, they're crimping. They're rollers that just squish the wire and burns a little segment along it. That's all it do is a squishing. And then when you get to well, they have little rollers, but on this side is a cutter edge, but there's also another blade that crimps it, right? But there is little blades, but the blades start here, but it's just hard to say. You know, there is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm seeing 10 blades, 11 blades. Oh, and then here's just some kind of weird wire, big square hole. I'm not even sure what that's for. But anyways, like I say, it seems to work pretty good for the price. GTA Diamond Tools out of Ontario. Do a search. It's on sale, $12.99. Free shipping in Canada. I think, you know, it's gonna pay for itself. Look at the amount of copper I have already here. That's about 2 hours work. So I'd say it's a good deal. Looks pretty good. Okay, that's my final thoughts. You guys have a great day. This is Canadian Treasure Hunter out. Thanks for watching.